Inflation, debt, terrorism, political instability. Pakistan clearly has a lot on its plate right now, and add to that a snub from one of its closest allies, that's China. And what do you get? A slowdown in major economic projects, reluctance to commit more funds to Pakistan, a rejection of the proposal to expand the scope of the massive China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC. So what is the trouble that's brewing between China and Pakistan? Why is there trouble in paradise? Let's break it all down for you. In the latest, China has rejected calls for fresh Belt and Road projects in Pakistan. You heard that right. Beijing has turned down Pakistan's suggestions to expand the scope of CPEC by adding projects related to energy, climate change, electricity, tourism. Remember, CPEC, responsible for the $50 billion Pakistani component of the Belt and Road Initiative, is at the center of this issue. And not just that, China has also declined Pakistan's request to construct a 500 kilovolt transmission line connecting the southern port of Gwadar to the national electricity grid in Karachi. Now, it's important to remember that Gwadar port is a focal point of Chinese infrastructure investment in the region. Also, Beijing has reportedly pressured Pakistan to withdraw its objections to a 300 megawatt coal-fired power plant in Gwadar. Islamabad had intended to relocate this plant to a location where domestically sourced coal could be used rather than imported coal. You see, China is showing hesitation in deepening its involvement in Pakistan. And in light of these reports, the Pakistani government has tried to downplay Beijing's standoffishness. However, as China commemorates the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing seems to be increasingly discerning in its approach to expanding its influence and building infrastructure from Asia to Europe to Africa. But why has China, Pakistan's so-called all-weather ally, started distancing itself from its commitments to Pakistan? Well, isn't it obvious? Just have a look at Pakistan's condition. The country's economy is in absolute disarray, and while it has been 10 years since China and Pakistan joined forces for CPEC, the loans from its all-weather ally have failed to revitalize Pakistan's economy. In fact, China's own projects in Pakistan have significantly contributed to the country's growing debt. Pakistan, by the way, owes the majority of its external debt to China through the Belt and Road Initiative lending. But more importantly, according to the latest report, China is concerned about Pakistan's political turmoil since the former Prime Minister Imran Khan's government was toppled. And since then, the country has witnessed multiple bouts of civil unrest. And if that was not enough, terrorists have started to increasingly target Chinese interests, including an attempted ambush of engineers in August that was foiled by security forces. And this underscores Pakistan's worsening security situation as a whole. Not just that, terrorists executed a pair of deadly suicide bombings just last week. You see, Pakistan's recent surge in violence has also thrown a wrench into the investment climate. And Beijing is clearly getting worried about the safety of their personnel and their assets within Pakistan. According to local media reports, Pakistan has tried to ramp up security measures for Chinese individuals involved in CPEC projects, including deploying bulletproof vehicles for Chinese individuals. But there are deeper issues that Beijing finds unsettling in Pakistan. According to reports and experts, there are multiple reasons for Beijing's reluctance. But political instability sits at the top of the list. The Pakistani political elite often treat CPEC projects as tools to bolster their constituencies during election campaigns rather than fostering genuine economic collaboration between Pakistan and China. And as the country prepares to head to the polls at the end of January, these concerns only add to the complexity of the situation. Pakistan has proven to be an inherently unstable political entity. Over the years, China has witnessed enough to understand that the prospect of Pakistan achieving stability and consistent economic growth is, unfortunately, a distant and uncertain one. So what are the key takeaways here? Number one, China is growing increasingly concerned about Pakistan's worsening domestic situation, especially in a post-pandemic era. This situation is posing greater challenges to CPEC. Political infighting has emerged as a significant obstacle to this mega project. Number two, there is a lack of alignment between Pakistan's provincial and central governments regarding CPEC, leading to conflicts in regions like Punjab, Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. In Balochistan, in particular, there are concerns that the region's resources will be exploited. Local communities and ethnic minorities fear the influx of Chinese workers and have voiced opposition to the project. According to Chinese assessments, this internal discord in Pakistan over CPEC has led to an increased security threat to the corridor and Chinese personnel associated with it in recent years. And China views the Baloch Liberation Army as a primary threat to its presence in Pakistan. And terrorist organizations like the Al-Qaeda and ISIS have also targeted corridor projects. Number three, the Chinese side is also aware of Pakistan's highly unstable economic situation and believes that, given its current economic challenges, Pakistan may not be able to support the construction of the economic corridor. There's also anxiety that Pakistan's high levels of debt and weak repayment capacity pose significant risks to Chinese investments. In the light of these developments, there seem to be only storm clouds ahead for the all-weather allies. But while economic cooperation may be faltering, there is one area where their ties remain robust, and that's their anti-India nexus. China is set to host the third Trans-Himalayan Forum for International Cooperation in Tibet, near Arunachal Pradesh. Notably, Pakistan's foreign minister will be in attendance alongside Mongolia and Afghanistan. This week's event takes place in Tibet, a mere 160 kilometers from India's Arunachal Pradesh. The forum, established in 2018, aims to foster deeper practical cooperation among the member nations on various topics, including environmental protection and geographical connectivity. And the last in-person meeting occurred in the year 2019. However, this meeting occurs against the backdrop of strained ties between India and China due to the ongoing border dispute, of course. The convergence of China and Pakistan in their anti-India stance remains a constant. While economic cooperation faces hurdles, this alignment in their regional goals has continued to shape their interactions. And as the third Trans-Himalayan Forum unfolds, the desperate bid to contain India becomes very clear. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.